So I have quite the recommendation for all of you today. I recently found this series and I sat down and binged 12 chapters of it in one sitting, and I need to get back to reading it as soon as I finish doing my overall first impressions, because with what I read the first 12 chapters, there's enough content to really get a good grasp on what to expect from the story and kind of if it's going to be your cup of tea or not. So, as always, the reason why I was drawn into this series is because of the title and the artwork. The title, called I'm the Grim Reaper, is something that instantly stood out to me because it's been a while since I actually really sat down and read a series affiliated with, let's say, like a Death God or a Grim Reaper or Shinigami, whatever term you want to kind of throw out there for basically a Grim Reaper. You know, it's been a while since I actually watched a series kind of focusing around that. For instance, someone kind of getting the souls of the damned, or, you know, anyone that needs to be sent to the afterlife and dragging them to the afterlife. It's been a while since I read something like that, and so I was really, wanting to read this. It piqued my interest, and I absolutely was not disappointed with what I've read so far. So one of the reasons why I was drawn to is because usually when things are affiliated with the Grim Reaper, like focusing the plot around it, it can lead to a lot of interesting character development, characterization, and also really good plot, because it's focusing on characters that potentially don't either deserve to die or do potentially may need to die, and some people, maybe their lives were cut too short or maybe they lived too long. There's so many different various circumstances surrounding different individuals that this can be a really good plot. It's why I've always been drawn to these type of stories. So it automatically has a lot going in its favor in terms of just what it has already at its disposal, in terms of what it can use for different storylines. But this series, I'm the Grim Reaper, is something very different. So basically, it starts off with our main character, Scarlet, that is waiting in line, basically about to be judged to decide if she is going to be going to heaven or hell. And you just see everybody's different circumstances, like these lost souls or whatever, just going in line, and eventually she's just drugged down, and you see her fall through what you appear to be maybe like either heaven or some form of different plane of existence, maybe Earth, and then dragged into hell. And you see this demon, which is basically Satan himself, start to confront Scarlet, and it's like, oh, I've been waiting so long for you. I've been waiting so long for you to finally die and all that, and here you are, I finally have you. And basically, this devil here, the main devil, Satan, offers a job to Scarlet. Like, hey, you can either serve your punishment in the ninth circle of hell, or you can be a Grim Reaper for me. And obviously, in anyone kind of faced with this circumstance, for instance, if you were literally faced with the devil himself and you're basically thrown an opportunity to potentially work for him, or you're cast to like eternal damnation, obviously you're probably going to pick, sure, I'll be, a coworker or an employee with you. So it makes a lot of sense why Scarlet chose to be a Grim Reaper. Now, from what we actually get to briefly see what Scarlet's punishment would be, basically, Scarlet would be sent to the ninth circle, which is basically like isolation or the oblivion. Basically, nothing is around. It is an entire entity, a realm full of emptiness. There is literally nothing, fully surrounded in darkness, and that is where our main female character, Scarlet, would actually go to. Now, with the series so far, from what I've read, it has not clarified at all why Scarlet would actually be sent to hell and why she would go into the ninth circle of hell. It has yet to be explained, and even Scarlet herself has no idea why she is actually having this, punishment thrown on her. And this is very interesting because throughout the, chapters I read, we get to see various circumstances of different characters and kind of why they should be sent there, why they shouldn't, etc. And we get to see that all of them retain their memories, all of them retain their punishment, what they should be punished for, but Scarlet is an individual that doesn't remember. It's very clear that something is going on, and I feel like as the story progresses, Scarlet maybe doesn't deserve to actually be sentenced to that plane of existence. She probably doesn't even need to be a Grim Reaper. Maybe someone that might have actually been maybe like an archangel or something, bringing in, the souls to heaven or whatever, something like that. So I find the overall premise very interesting so far, because you're seeing like a good soul, potentially good soul, get corrupted and become the Grim Reaper, and slowly losing themselves, to where at one point you're going to assume that even if they once were a good person, because of their circumstances and what's going on, they technically now are no longer a good person. They're a sinner. I mean, when you really think about everything that's happened so far with what the series has set up with the first 12 chapters I read, she no longer could be considered a 100% good person anymore, especially with what her job description is, which I think everybody knows what a Grim Reaper is, but, I guess if someone doesn't know, we know it's about, ferrying in souls. And so she is tasked by Satan himself, like, hey, you gotta, go out of your way and you gotta meet at least one soul quota per day. For instance, get one person's soul and bring it to me. And this seems incredibly, I guess, little, because when you think about the amount of people that potentially die or whatever, you'd think that there would technically be a lot more that the quota would need to be. For instance, maybe 100, 1,000, whatever, but that actually isn't the case. But I mean, we could assume that maybe there is just a lot of Grim Reapers in the disposal of Satan, so he's able to just get as many as he wants, but there's definitely something very off going on with our character, and I feel like overall what is happening here is that she's getting manipulated where her soul gets tainted to the point to where she no longer can actually be saved. That's where I think the plot is going. But getting back on to the main topic at hand, we get to see a circumstance with a character that is actually just, let's say, a thief. Someone that every day while they're working with their job, they take a little bit of food from, let's say, the kitchen and all that, and they steal it. And yeah, stealing, we all know, is really wrong. We're taught at a very early age, don't do anything wrong like that. I think we all understand that. But when you really think about it, imagine someone just taking, let's say, like a tater tot, okay? Taking a tater tot, they eat it, and then the next day they take another tater tot, they eat it, and they proceed to do this maybe for 10 years, okay? Just 10 years, and they do it like almost every single day for 10 years. Obviously, the cost of food would eventually rise. For instance, that tater tot, the money that goes to making those tater tots would add up eventually. And technically, she is stealing, which is technically considered a sin. And you see an individual that's basically sentenced to hell thanks to that very circumstance. And you're left wondering, like, does that person really deserve to be sent to there? Does that person really deserve that after just stealing, let's say, a tater tot each day? It's like, it's so minor, it's so little, do they deserve that fate? I mean, yes, stealing is wrong, but it's like, is that really the only answer, eternal damnation? That's the big thing about that. So I love the different morals and stuff that this series brings up. It makes you question, like, who really deserves to be there and who doesn't, and the characters that our main female character encounters, Scarlet, who she encounters, it makes you wonder, do they deserve to be there? And she's even has a partner at this point within the story we see, to where she is working with this apparent detective that is trying to figure out kind of her death. So yeah, that's the big bombshell about what, I'm the Grim Reaper's kind of about at the moment. So as I said, Scarlet doesn't remember anything. So we know that she died, and the thing is her entire mysterious death, it's a mystery. Nobody really knows what happened. There is a case on it, but no one really knows anything, any leads or whatever. And our main male character, the detective, he's trying to figure it out. He's trying to figure out basically what is going on, and, how is Scarlet, this person that looks very similar to the person that's dead, how she lines up with all of that. So I feel like this is going to be very fascinating, and the detective might be actually a Dexter type individual. Like, if you ever watched the show Dexter, I feel like he's going to be someone like that, because it's like he has an X on him which represents a sinner, so he's definitely done something despicable. And we do now know, though, to be a sinner in this story, you don't necessarily need to be, like, very evil. Just steal a tater tot a day and you can wind up there. So that's the point I'm trying to get at, is that I wonder if the detective, it's being misleading, letting us know that maybe, he isn't that bad. It's just he's probably done little things that's compounded his sins to make him look bad. For instance, maybe he's lied in his detective work, or maybe he's someone that, let's say, he has done something very awful and he judges himself thinking he did something awful. I don't really know, but the point I'm trying to get at is that, I'm the Grim Reaper is a really good read so far. There is a lot of chapters currently out, and I definitely cannot wait to binge read it as soon as I wrap up this video. My God, I love this. I really love this story. There's just so many fascinating stories I've been uncovering recently. I mean, to, this series, to, villain to kill, to, hero killer, to, Purple Hyacinth, and, you know, the series just go on and on. There's just so many countless series I've discovered recently that are just so vastly unique. There's so many unique series that kind of just stand out. But with that out of the way, though, I'm just gonna say thank you so much all of you guys for, you know, watching this video. If you're interested in reading this series and checking out for yourself if you really will like it, you know, I will link it in the description and also in the comments section, so click on that link, and if you do click on the link, it does help me out as well. And so I just wanted to be very transparent with all of you. But with that, guys, be safe, stay healthy, Chibi out.